Welcome back once again to northern Italy. Now, while cities such as Milan may take the attention of many, the multitude of mountains and lakes give rest and tranquility to others. For the karting world, this is the epicenter of every movement in the industry, including here at the Franciacorta karting track, where the teams, the drivers, the spectators are all here for this year's FIA Karting World Championship for the KZ categories. Situated less than 100 kilometers east of the nation's second city, Franciacorta has quickly established itself as one of the most popular venues since its opening earlier this decade. A bumper entry of over 250 drivers are here to compete for the 3 crowns on offer over 3 days of competition. In KZ2 Master, the 4th edition of the International Masters Super Cup is on the line for drivers aged 35 or over. In KZ2, the FIA Karting World Cup is the final opportunity of the year for drivers to add their names to the Gearbox Karting FIA Roll of Honour. And in KZ, 55 drivers are here to see who will succeed Giuseppe Palomba as world champion, or whether the Italian will be the first driver since 2017 to successfully defend the title that can only be won here in Franciacorta at the Mondocar.com FIA Karting World Championship. Let's go for a fresh run round Franciacorta on board with the reigning KZ2 World Cup winner Christian Batuca. The lap starts with a ferocious run through turn 1 before a big braking stop into turns 2 and 3, all right-handers. Building the speed through 4, the drivers prepare for the first overtaking chance, turn 5, an early apex tight left-hander. The drivers build the speed through 6 before heading into the technical second sector, starting with turns 7 and 8. The trade-off and set-up balance of being quick through here versus speed on the straights is a tough challenge for the mechanics. Turn 11 is a classic example of this, as the medium speed left-hander sets the drivers on their way for the blast through turn 12, through the valley and up towards the biggest braking point on the circuit, turn 13. 1 corner remains of a 45-second lap. Turn 14 completes this 1,300-metre circuit, a true roller coaster once again on the FIA karting calendar.
Well, good afternoon everybody. Here we are at Franciacorta in Italy for the World Karting Championships. My name is Nigel Edwards. I'm the race director for this event with Pasquale Lupoli from Italy. I've been doing this role now for 15 years for the FIA, but I've been a clerk of the course race director for about 25 years, which sounds a hell of a long time. Stop it, under investigation please, Pasquale. We're a team game. Obviously as a race director, the important bits for us are 2 things really. One is safety and one is fairness for the competitor. So we need to be making sure that we train and encourage young, new people into our sport. I say Peter is one of those typical people who's been on the high performance FIA program, so he's doing really well so far. I think we're about a year and a bit into that, and I'm sure one day he will become an FIA karting race director.
My name is Piotr Mika and I come from Poland. I started my career in motorsport 17 years ago as a track marshal in Poland. Now I am a race director and steward on the national level. HPP allows me to get extra knowledge and extra experience gained from the best race directors in the FIA. My ambition in the future is working with the best to gain experience from them.
My name is Matteo Pedini and I'm the FIA Sport Officials Manager. This program wants to prepare the next generation of FIA officials. Of course, we want to help the different candidates to learn the skills and the mindset that they need to work on the World Championship. It's part of our mission as a FIA to make sure that every different championship has the high-level quality officials now and in the coming years.
The 2024 edition of the FIA Karting International Masters Super Cup took place at a cool Portimao in Portugal. Anthony Abbas started on pole position in his Sodi from Daniel Bray and Andre Nicastro. After a 20-lap final, Abbas took the title ahead of Bray and Davide Fore. A fantastic display from the Frenchman, who had gone unbeaten through every single race session across the course of the meeting. Ahead of this year's final, a capacity 72 strong field had been cut down to half that number after 4 rounds of racing through the heats. It had been a clean sweep for the host nation, with Faure, Angelo Lombardo and Andrea Spagni taking victories on Saturday and Sunday morning. Maranello Karts Lombardo would start on pole with Faure in the Praga IPK second. 2024 European champ Riccardo Nallon would start third. Lights out in Franciacorta, Lombardo got the best of Faure towards turn 1. Abbas from 4th on the grid gained 1 position. The rest of the field would run through the first 3 turns without incident. Behind the top 3, Nallon was 4th with a gap to the rest. Sadly, Alessandro Covina's final would go no further. The next corner would see his Intrepid out of the race. As the rest of the field would run through turn 5, Covina would have to watch the Super Cup final from the marshal's post. Lap 2, Marco Pislaw found himself in a cloud of dust off of turn 5. The cause? A clash with Daniele Carri's EKS. Carri would also retire later on that same lap. Back at the front, Lombardo led from Faure, Abbas, Nallon and Manuel Casalio. Andre De Castro's race would end early, making him the 3rd retirement from the final. Nallon would have a look for 3rd into turn 5, whilst Paul David would pull into the pits to become retirement number 4. Further dramas at turn 5 would follow, this time Emanuele Simonetti in trouble after a clash with Spagni in the battle for 10th place. Spagni later disqualified from the final result. Lap 6 and under pressure from Faure, Lombardo was forced into a defensive position. The 2 leaders ran side by side towards sector 2, giving Abbas the chance to draw alongside Faure. Fierce defence from Angelo Lombardo would see him hold on to the race lead. Would that prove to be Faure's best chance to win? Lap 11, there would be no repeat of the Sarno heroics from Antonio Piccioni. This year's European champion out at turn 5 after an incident with Spagni. A sad end to the FIA season for 2 of the early event favourites. It had been a weekend and a final to forget for both. As the final passed through the halfway stage of the race, Lombardo and Faure increased the gap to Abbas. The pace had left 3 fighting for 3rd. Nallon and Casalio were right on the Sony's tail. Casalio went down the inside, looking to improve his track position on lap 12. Nallon expertly held on by limiting Casalio's speed off of turn 5. Elsewhere in the field, Sirio Constanti had made good progress, up 10 places to 21st. Nicola Cagato wanted that place back, however. 1 step forward equaled 1 step back through turn 5. Daryl Henderson reading matters best to gain 2 positions on lap 15. 6 laps to go, Nallon had caught back up to Abbas. The trio for 3rd were 2 seconds back from race leader Lombardo. Faure stuck 4/10 behind in 2nd. Further intrigue up and down the field would include Waldir Belisario, Julien Guéon and Peter Shakachian's debate over 16th place. After 24 laps of Franciacorta, Lombardo had held his nerve. Great race pace had kept Faure back at 4/10 lap after lap. The victory and clean sweep of all race sessions, like Abbas 12 months ago, gave Angelo Lombardo his first FIA Karting International Masters Super Cup title. Receiving congratulations from 2023 winner Faure, it was Lombardo's first FIA title since his 2009 victory in the KZ2 European Championship. The top 10 in KZ2 Master. Lombardo wins ahead of Faure, Abbas completes the podium ahead of Nallon and Casalio. Finishing 6th was Luciano Meneghini ahead of Rasmus Haugaard. Alessio Lamartina, Christian Habilin and Jeroen Bos all finished within 10 seconds of the race winner, proving yet again the longevity of the KZ2 Master category. A battle hard fought and well won. After a weekend of the highest quality, the podium saw on it 3 of the 4 winners of the Masters Super Cup title. The newest of them, Angelo Lombardo. A special moment indeed for the Italian. We had a good feeling, an exceptional race. It's beautiful. Beautiful in every way. I also congratulated them. They were all very strong. They have been the whole weekend. And what can I say? Besides thanking all the guys at Maranello and Vitti for the engines, my partner, my mother, and then everything came little by little. We worked. It took us a whole year to get to this result, obviously with its ups and downs, but we've managed to find the best solution to bring home the world title.
Was, I believe, a very nice show, very nice race. I try all the best, honestly, in the final. I think you can see also from outside the speed was very, very close. I think the start maybe decided a bit the positions after Angelo he defended well at the beginning of the race, and then in the middle part of the race, maybe he got a bit advantage, because also maybe my tire was start to be very hot when I was behind. And after the last 5 laps, I tried to come back again, but you know, it's not easy, honestly, to overtake him and also to overtake in this track. But anyway, I don't have any regrets, because I did everything I can.
It will be difficult to make better than last year, because P1 is the best that you can. But for sure, I do all I can for this race. But for sure, I miss something because I don't do the European Championship, so I can't work enough during all the year to be ready for this race. But at the end, I was close to the guys, but the guys was stronger than me for sure. It was impossible.
It was not easy for us at the start, but we work hard for a ride to conclude the best this season. So this a big thanks to all the staff, all the guys that work with me. I want to thanks again Angelo, Luca Filini, that is my technician, and the people that trust in us and help us to arrive to this result.
Portimao 2024 for the KZ2 World Cup was the scene for Birol ART's bounce back after losing out in the European Championship earlier in the season. Great performances within their works team and the associated CL Racing team saw Italy's Christian Batuca take victory in Portugal ahead of Brazil's Mateus Morgato. With no Sodi representation on the podium 1 year prior, the French CPB Sport team knew that their dominance of this year's earlier European Championships meant nothing was guaranteed heading into Franciacorta's final. A long programme had seen the finalists race 7 times, resulting in a CPB Sport Sodi front row lockout, with Max Orlov on pole position, Schleimer P2, on row 2 Marc Scrivan and Timo Jungling. Could Orlov secure a historic double in Italy? Plenty of tension ahead of the start. Maximilian Schleimer gets the better getaway from second on the grid, jumping European champion Max Orlov. Immediately, Orlov's unbeaten record through the heats was under threat. Most of the field had got through the first 4 turns without problems. Sadly for one driver, their final was over before it begun. Jay Irwin out on lap 1, having started from a promising 11th. Schleimer led from Orlov, Scrivan 3rd, Jungling 4th. The likes of Yanis Civico and Louis Speck had started well, moving up to 5th and 6th places, and were just ahead of Noah Wolf as the rest of the pack jostled for positions. Lap 2, Schleimer defends from Orlov, giving Scrivan and Jungling the opening to close the early race lead. Jungling had shown plenty of promise in preparations for the final and put them to good use, moving past Scrivan and into 3rd place. 1 lap later, Orlov takes his chance round the outside of his teammates and into the lead of the World Cup final. A slow exit off of turn 5 had cost the German possibly his best chance of beating his fellow Sodi driver for the first time at Franciacorta. Worse was his 2nd place now being under threat from others behind. But despite best efforts from Scrivan, it was still a Sodi 1-2-3. Start of lap 4, Jungling bravely puts a move on Schleimer at high speed through turn 1, the young Briton up to 2nd place. Theo Bland's final ended early on lap 5. The French driver, who had made good progress through the heats, was joined on the sidelines by Jenson Graham 1 lap later, another 2 drivers not seeing the checkered flag. Lap 7, Noah Wolf showed his skills on the brakes with a fine move on Scrivan to take 4th place. Wolf was the lead Birol chassis runner on track and now on the search for a podium. Orlov was back in his dominant position, a regular sight in 2025, nearly 2 seconds clear of the rest. Lap 9, a troubling moment for Wolf out of sector 2 and through turn 12 meant he would have to defend into turn 13. The gap opening up to Schleimer, Scrivan with an opportunity. Good positioning, however, from Wolf meant he continued in 4th. Simon Reckenmacher overtook a fading Civico at turn 5 on lap 11. It would not be such a positive run at the same spot for Sam Louillet and Roberto Zoani. Louillet would later find himself disqualified from the final, having been judged by the stewards to be at fault. Zoani would continue off the back of the pack. A big dive from Daniel Massier did not give him 5th place past Scrivan at turn 13. Reckenmacher instead took his 6th place before they reached turn 14. The positions would reverse soon after, with a close moment through turn 5. The three Sodis continued to lead from the rest of the pack, whilst the limping Zawani retired from the race. More retirements at turn 5, lap 15 saw a clash between teammates Martin Yrttianen and Samueli Leopardi. A tumultuous end to the race for the Finn, who was judged to be at fault and later disqualified. Elsewhere, Gerasim Skulinov would become the next retirement on lap 16. Lap 20, Noah Wolf goes for another big send into turn 5. Hard racing between Wolf and Schleimer would see third place change hands. A further investigation would lead to no further action. Lap 22, another of the Sodis was on the move. Jaden Teen passed Massia for 6th place at turn 5. Up the road, Scrivan still held 5th. Schleimer had been dropped by Wolf and Youngling. Orlov dominating again, led by nearly 4 seconds. That gap left the two Brits, Youngling and Wolf, to fight over 2nd place. Youngling covering the inside, Weiss to any moves into turn 1. But in 2025, there would be no beating Max Orlov. The lead Sodi CPB Sport driver finished his World Cup weekend unbeaten, and in doing so achieves history, becoming the first driver in this era of Gearbox International Karting to win both the FIA European and World KZ2 titles in the same calendar year. The classified result in KZ2, yet another victory in 2025 for Max Orlov. Youngling and Wolf in 2nd and 3rd mean it's the first time there's a British presence on the World Cup podium since 2022. Schleimer and Scrivan place in the top 5. Tien, Massia, Civico and Speck are all in the top 10, completed by Arthur Lehouk. Big smiles on the podium for 3 ultra-talented drivers in the KZ2 World Cup final for 2025. However, this year will always go down as the year of the unstoppable, unbeatable Maxim Orlov.
I push as hard as I can, and we show everyone that the speed which we have, it's amazing. Yeah, the free pace was clearly it's the best one, yeah, on the track. And yeah, I'm happy about this result. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, preparing for this race, I trained very hard. And yeah, this week we showed amazing speed. I won 5 heats. But yeah, I can't thank the whole of Sodi, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here. Like, as Flo said, we're family. And we keep working on the chassis. The first day of practice, it was a bit difficult. And then we assess, for the next day, which is quali day. And as you saw for quali day, I was pole in my group, just completely off the hard work we did.
The pace was amazing. I'm happy to break a lockout for the podium for the Sodis. It was really difficult to get the move done because they were working so well as a team. I think I'm the only one that really gave them a proper fight, so fair play to them, and Beryl done an amazing job to get me here to fighting with them. But yeah, I mean, if I put the best weekend together and I made no mistakes, then for sure I could have fought Max a bit harder, but the mistakes early in the weekend cost a little bit.
The people who work with me are amazing. We are I can't say this word, we're a family, I'm very grateful to have the team like that, to have the support of Sodi Karts, because the material is amazing. We win all the championship we participate this year, we win. It's a magic moment for us, because to win and as well to have another driver on the podium. So yeah, very good.
Premier Gearbox Karting category, KZ and its field of drivers went into 2024's final at Portimao after a wet lead-up through the heats. Senna van Waalstein and Pedro Hiltbrand's battle for supremacy opened the door for Giuseppe Palomba to become world champion for the first time. With emotional scenes on the podium for the Italian driver and a 1-2 for the Sodi team, it was a tremendous result for all involved. 1 year later, Palomba had switched teams to Maranello, but could only qualify 5th for the final. 5 different drivers had sampled victory through the 3 rounds of qualifying heats and the super heats. IPK's David Trevelov had pole for the final, with last year's European champion Lorenzo Travisanuto alongside on row 1. Senna van Waalstein would start 3rd, looking to go 1 better than Portimao in 2024. Arguably the most crucial start of the year, the World Championship on the line, but a critical error from David Trevelov. A decent start, but a small movement as the lights came on would put the German under scrutiny straight away. A 5-second penalty would follow with further drama for other contenders. Reigning world champion Palomba out on lap 1 after an incident with Riccardo Longhi. Alessio Lorandi was also off the road. Stuck on the curb, the chance to go back-to-back for Palomba was gone. The field ran clean through turn 5 with Trevelov breaking away. Palomba would be joined on the sidelines by others, including Pietro Fioravanti and Alex Maragliano. 3 drivers out of the race before the end of lap 1. The action was frantic in the midfield with big moves up the order. Noblo up 9 and this year's European champion Spurgel up 5. Out at the start of lap 3 would go Olin Galli in the CRG and Marin Krimers in the Tony kart. A disappointing end to a difficult season for the 2019 world champion. Back on track, a move from Spurgel on teammate Noblo put the number 17 Sodi up to 6th place on lap 4. Galli would return to the pits after the turn 2 incident. Trevelov continued to lead on the road from a charging Van Walstein. Sensing his chance, the Dutch driver put the move in through the first sector. Victor Gustafsson knew what it took to win a world title. A crucial move for the 2022 world champion took him past Trevelov and up to 2nd place. Denner, also nipping through, was now up to 3rd. Lap 8, Travis Anuto's move on Trevelov gave him 4th through turn 5. Danilo Albanese was also keen to capitalise, taking 6th from Spurgel before going on the attack a few moments later on Trevelov for 5th place. The initial go from the former European champion didn't go his way. Trevelov retaking the position on lap 10. Whilst at the front of the field, Van Walstein's lead was half a second. Lap 13, Trefelov was forced to fend off Travis Anuto. The following shuffle saw Noblo fall behind Stan Pex, Patuka and Hilbrand out of the top 10 before a huge incident through turn 7 involving Trevelov and Travis Anuto. Thankfully, both drivers would emerge unscathed, but their chances of a podium, however, over for the 2025 World Championship final. Lap 14, Albanese gets by on Denner. The Kart Republic driver now onto the podium on home soil. 2 laps later, Stan Pex would move into the top 5. Great skill on the brakes from the Dutch driver took him past Spurgel. Franciacorta had been a tough playground for Spurgel. An error at turn 13 allowed Patuka and Hilbrand both through. Spurgel now down to 8th place. Lap 17, the issues would continue. Teammate Noblo the next to get by, quickly followed by 23 world champion Paolo Ippolito. Proof if ever needed, a KZ final takes no prisoners. Lap 18, a double set of moves saw Pex through past Denner for 4th, Hilbrand momentarily ahead of Patuka before completing the move to 6th later on. It had been a quiet race for Senna Van Walstein in P1, not that that mattered much to the Dutch driver. After so many times coming so close to glory, Franciacorta 2025 would be where Senna Van Walstein could finally claim his place at the top of the sport. A brilliant achievement for a driver who had climbed his mountain. The determination and hard work of nearly a decade and a half in the sport had led to this. Senna Van Walstein, the new FIA karting world champion in KZ. The final result in Franciacorta, Van Walstein delivers a first KZ world title for a Dutch driver for 6 years. Gustafsson takes a well-earned 2nd ahead of Albanese to complete the podium. Pex and Denner finish the season on a positive note in the top 5. Hilbrand beats teammate Patuka to 6th. A high-quality top 10 is completed by Noblo, Ippolito and Spurgel. Elation, relief and contemplation on the podium in KZ. To be the best, you have to beat the best. And beat them he did. Senna Van Walstein on top of the karting world.
Yeah, honestly, I'm extremely happy to finally done it. You know, we've been so close so many times, either on the European or on the World Champs, and we just always seem to miss out on the last moment. And now to finally put it together, you know, yeah, I'm just really happy. You know, everyone around me, the whole team, Flavio Sani, the factory, everyone around me, you know. So everyone is working so hard and keep having faith in me and putting me back up when I was down. And to finally do it together, it released a lot of emotions.
No, I think I was quite lucky in the start. I came out 3rd from 7th, so obviously there is a luck involved there. Then I just tried to do quali lap after quali lap, and in the end I saw that I wouldn't catch him. I was there trying my best, but in the end I couldn't do it. Then I did one mistake with 3 laps to go, and I said that's it. I have to settle for 2nd. which is a shame. But to be honest, they were too good this year. It's simple as that. So we just have to try next year again.
Really happy for the podium because I start P11, and I think this is the maximum for the final, and I'm really happy. Thanks to my team anyway for the hard work.
You know, like Senna arrived in 2020 with us, so it's like Senna, everybody knows the attitude of Senna. What I mean, the emotion can create Senna on track, you know, to everyone, and you get attached of these guys. Same if sometimes you can make you tense, but we love him. But we truly believe in him, and we know he is the best, and he showed today he's the best because he is world champion.
And so as the sun sets on our FIA KZ journey in 2025, Angelo Lombardo becomes your latest winner of the KZ2 International Masters Super Cup. Maxim Orlov completes the clean sweep of every FIA KZ2 race this year, and with it joins a list of World Cup champions, many of whom have gone on to even bigger achievements. What next perhaps for Orlov in 2026? And in KZ, Senna van Waalstein rises to the occasion and with it takes his first FIA Karting World Championship. A victory made sweeter after the years of so nearly moments. Thank you for joining us here in Franciacorta. Until 2026 hits goodbye, we very much hope to see you again soon.